How I met and married my husband within 6 months after being single for 10 years.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome back to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. So this video, it's a very interesting video. You guys will always come here and talk about, oh man this, man that, but this one want something nice. For the people that believe in love and love is loving. So this video is a video of a sister who came online to share a story, a love story of how she was single for 10 years and then she met this man, and in 6 months time they got engaged and got married, and a year and a half later they already have a baby and all that. And she wanted to talk about some of the things, how this relationship navigated, how she was able to know this is a man, how that put her at peace, how she got confirmation because this is a Christian couple, how they got the confirmation that yes, they are meant to be with each other and they walk towards it because somebody at the diner told them they were supposed to be together and now they are together. Okay. And they barely known for 6 months. They started dating 6 months later, they were engaged and married. Anyway, guys, I find this story very interesting and I really love to know your own take on it because there are some things on this video that I will not subscribe to, okay, which I'm going to share at the end of the video. But also I also want to know your honest take on this. Here on this channel we have conversation, so it's not to bash the sister or tell her what to do with her life. If she's happy, I'm happy for her. Like that's just, it's just for us to have that conversation, for us to be like get into each other's head and like, are you going to be in this situation? Is this like a fairy tale for you? Is this so cute? Is this not? Will you marry somebody you've known for 6 months? Will you marry somebody that you sent a message to on DMs on social media and did not respond to you? Or will you marry somebody that you got affirmation from somebody because somebody told you, God told you that this is your wife, this is your husband, and then you start planning a wedding? I really want to know all your thoughts on this down in the comment section. But let's go check out the story. And then before we get into the story, if you have not subscribed to the channel, now is the time to just subscribe, okay, and click the notification bell, okay? So let's go check out this story and then we'll come back and talk more.
I'm going to tell you all how I met and married my husband within 6 months after being single for 10 years. Okay. So I moved to Dallas in August of 2021 to pursue my master's at a seminary school here. And when I got here, I was like, I finally feel ready to date, and not just date to date, but date healthily. Because prior to that, I had been single for 10 years, but that 10 years was not free of situationship and unhealthy connections and all of the things. So when I got here, I was just completely over that. And not that I hadn't been over it before, because I did want a healthy relationship. It just didn't work out. So I started school in August and I was certain that I wouldn't meet anybody at school. I didn't expect for anyone to catch my eye. No one caught my eye. And also my eyes just like, while I was at school, I just wasn't focused on that. I thought that maybe I would meet someone in the city, but just school was just a no-go for me. I just knew it. However, about a month into school, September 16th to be exact, I had to go to this class. It was like a full meeting for incoming students. So we have these small groups at school that are kind of like your small groups that you would expect to have at church, and they're led by a specific person or like small group leader. It's called something different, but anywho, that's what it is. And so you go into this room and everyone is there and everyone meets their leader during this day. It's called class day. And so the different leaders are standing up and introducing themselves. And before anyone stands up, I noticed this man that I had never seen before out of my peripheral vision on the side of my eye. Yes, he was on this side, the right side. I was like, oh my goodness, he is fine. Where has he been? I have never seen him before. But I'm focused. I'm trying to find my group. I'm trying to identify my leader. And yeah, so I'm paying attention. But then he stands up and he introduces himself as a leader of one of the groups. And so I see him stand, and y'all, I mean, even with his mask on, I was like, who is this man? And as he speaks and introduces himself, he just has this way of speaking that I was just so drawn to. Like, he just sounded like so articulate and just, I don't know, like I just was drawn. I was taken aback. It just really caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting to see anybody that would draw my attention. But anywho, Class lets out, he goes outside of class and he sits down, and I felt like he had kind of noticed me while we were in class as well, but it just wasn't the time or the place. So when I walk out, I walk by him like maybe he'll say something. He doesn't say anything. And my friend grabs me and she's like, hey, let's go to chapel. So we go to chapel and I'm like, oh, I missed my opportunity. But like I said, I did hear him introduce himself in the classroom. So keep that in mind. I know his name. Fast forward, the next week I'm thinking, because these groups meet every single week, I'm thinking, well, I'll see him the following week on that same day. However, I didn't see him because we had broken off into our individual groups. So I didn't see him. I didn't see him around campus or anything. And the school is not that big. So I was like, dang. But in my head, I'm telling myself, I'm just never going to see him again. So because a week had gone by and I did know his name, I thought, okay, go ahead and just add him on Instagram. And something in me was like struggling with that because I was like, I wanted to just meet him in person. I didn't want to meet anyone online, which I know is a thing nowadays, but I don't know. It was just something in my head where I was like, I don't want to do that, but I did it, okay? I didn't message him or anything. I just simply followed him. And he immediately messaged me. He messaged me the same day and commented on like a video. So he didn't DM me, but he just like commented on a video to the point to where, like, you know how like if someone comments on your story, it goes to your DMs, but it doesn't technically count as a DM. So he commented and yeah, we started to exchange messages. So all he really said was that he recognized the books that were behind me in my video and asked me, did I go to the seminary? And I responded like, yes, I go to that seminary. And that was it. He didn't write me back. Now the following day was a Sunday and I'm new to the city. And so I was going to these different churches trying to find which one was right for me. And that particular Sunday, 2 of my friends were going to this specific church and they invited me, which is actually the church that I attend now. So we went to this church and this church has thousands upon thousands of members, right? And just keep that in mind because it gives you context for the story. So there are thousands of people in the sanctuary. I walk into the sanctuary, I meet my friends, we listen to the sermon, church goes as usual. The pastor dismisses us, we let out. As we are walking out of the sanctuary, I see this man from my side view again. And I was like, oh my gosh, there he is. But he hadn't responded to my message on Instagram. So I was just like, he stops me while I'm walking with my friends. He stops me and he also acknowledges them as well because he knew one of them. And he's just like talking to us on our way out. And he's like, oh yeah, I was just talking to you on Instagram, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, cringe. Like, I don't want people to know that I'm talking to somebody on my Instagram. And so anywho, we're walking and talking. And as we get outside, he asks for all of our telephone numbers. And long story short, we start texting and talking to each other and we start sharing our testimonies. We had a phone call that night where we just like talked about how we came to the Lord. The very next Sunday, we went out with a group of friends after church. And so that was kind of like our first meeting and the first time that I was able to see him like interact with other people, which I was like, okay, he's kind of cool. So now we're about a week and a half into us meeting. And then we start setting up dates. And so we have our first date and we went to this restaurant in downtown Dallas and the experience was terrible. So I forgot to mention that my husband is 6 years younger than me. And so on this date, even getting ready for this date, when I found out that he was that much younger than me, I was like, oh my goodness, Lord, like, do not let him be acting childish. Like, do not let me be able to tell his age. And so I kind of just had that in the forefront of my mind every time we would talk. And as I was preparing to go out with him, I was just like, Lord, do not let me notice how much of an age difference there is because I cannot take it. I've never dated anyone younger than me before. And I had been dating a little bit older than me. And so I just kind of expected it to not work out. And then when we actually got to the date, if there was anything that he did that was like in a joking manner, I was like, you're childish. Like, I can't do this. I don't know. And it was just something for me that it didn't click. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. Not to mention that he was super sweet, opened my door, super chivalrous. We listened to worship music on the way to the restaurant. He was like, literally like in full on worship. I've never been with anybody who was like full on singing like Maverick City songs on the way to the restaurant. I'm like, you don't even know me yet. So yeah, that date did not go the best. And I was like, I kind of don't know about this. And I was used to hearing these stories of like Christian couples meeting and falling in love at first sight and everything being perfect and the sky just opening up. And so I was like, is this gonna work? So then fast forward, we have our second date. And the second date did not go that great. We went to a park and just like walked around outside. And just for some reason, I don't know, just like, it just wasn't giving what it was supposed to be giving. It just was not. I didn't feel like this strong connection. I was just like, I don't know. And I think that he felt the same exact way. And so after that second date, we actually had a conversation and we decided like, hey, I don't think that the chemistry's there. Like I'm not really feeling it. And so maybe this ain't it. And we decided to stop talking to each other. So this is part 2 of how I met and married my husband within 6 months after being single for 10 years. So when I left off, my husband and I, who I was just dating at the time, we had decided to stop dating because the first 2 dates did not go great. And so we decided to kind of just stop talking to each other. However, over the span of those like maybe 2 weeks or so, we had been talking to each other like every single day. Y'all know how it is when you first meet somebody and you're just like, oh, I can't get enough. I want to talk to you all the time, text you all the time. And so it was hard to kind of get out of that habit. But there were a few days where we just went and we didn't talk to each other. However, I was still following him on Instagram because I'm not petty, right? Okay. So I saw that he had posted a story and I knew he was volunteering at our church at the time with the youth. And I remember him posting a story and I could tell that whatever was discussed during the service that he had attended with them, like it really grieved his heart for them. And he's the type of person who like, he gets so grieved for other people. And that was one of the things that I really loved about him because he really, really loves other people. And he's so empathetic toward others. And so I could just see that in the story. And I could tell that like he was really like maybe hurt or distraught. And so I just decided to reach out as a friend, like literally just like, hey, are you doing okay? So he responds in a pretty platonic way. But then after that, he reaches back out and he's like, I don't know what we're doing, but you are a wife. Like you are not my wife, but you are a wife. And you are everything that when I look at the Bible and I see the characteristics of a wife, like it is you. And so I'm not going to be petty. I don't care about the age difference. I don't care if we have chemistry by society standards. Like you withhold these qualities that I want to be with, like that I want to marry. And so let's try this again. And I was like, ooh, okay, you better take charge. Like, and it was right on my end as well. Like there were things that I was like, this is petty. Like, why am I holding this over his head? Like the fact that we may not have grown up watching the same shows, or we may not have known the same movie references, or that we may react to things in a different way because we do have an age difference. But in actuality, like, girl, you have dated. You know who you have dated, okay? You know the experiences that you have had. And this is a godly man who displays godly characteristics, who is led by the Lord. Like, is a 6-year age difference really, like, really? You're gonna ruin this for that? So I had to come to Jesus moment with myself, and I was just like, no, like, do not miss out on your blessing. And so I decided to give it another chance. We went out on another date. We went to the aquarium, and it was cool. Like, it was still kind of like, but it was cool. And after that, y'all, I cannot explain what happened, but things just took off. Like the chemistry was through the roof. And I think we just decided, like, we just got our priorities in order. We knew what was important to us. We knew our end goal. We were super intentional. That whole I don't know period lasted for about 3 weeks. And so about a month in was when he finally was like, okay, we got it together. You want to be my girlfriend? And so mid-November, we made things official. November 14th. Sorry, that's our little one. So November 14th, we were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, this is when things like really start speeding up. On November 21st, we went to church together, and we decided that that would be the day that I would meet his parents. Yes, 7 days after we had become officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And so after church, we went out to eat, and we went to this restaurant called Papados. I don't know if you know it. It's in some states it is not. But we went to this seafood restaurant called Papados, and there was no space in the restaurant, so we had to go sit at the bar. And so we're sitting at the bar, and he's watching the game, and we're eating our food, and this man comes in, and he has on a shirt, and it says, "Eat the manna." So obviously this man is a believer, because you know what manna is. So he comes into the bar, and he's standing there. He's getting a to-go order. So he's just waiting on the bartender to get his to-go order ready, and he looks over at us. And the way that I'm sitting, like we're both sitting next to each other. This is my husband, this is me, and the man is over here on this side. And so I can see the man looking at us, and he's just staring at my husband, and I'm like, what is happening? And so I'm almost like, hey, somebody just like looking at you. Like right before I start to open my mouth to tell him, like, this man is like staring at us. The man comes over, and he stops us. Y'all, this man starts telling us all about our life, starts telling us about our future. I've never had an experience like this, especially outside of church. But this man is telling us that, well, he's mainly talking to my husband at first, who is just my boyfriend at the time. And he's telling him, this woman is your wife. Like the Bible tells us that to find a wife is to find a good thing, and she is your good thing. She is your wife. You all are going to get married. You all are going to have a ministry together. You're going to go into dark places. He starts describing the ministry and the things that we're going to do together, the changes that we're going to make in the world. Like, it was insane. And I'm just like looking like, oh my God. Like, because I've never had an experience like that. It was crazy. And then the man just walks away. He gets his food and he leaves. But after that, like, if I had any nerves in my stomach for meeting his parents, I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm his wife at this point, right? So I wasn't nervous at all to meet his parents. So we go to his parents' house, and it went well. My in-laws are absolutely amazing. They've accepted me from day one, like, have made me feel like their daughter. And so it went great. It went great with his parents. But after that, we were just like, okay, we're good. And we had already spoken about marriage, but I just feel like that date at Papados like really just solidified everything. And so, yeah, we just kept talking about marriage, and we kept talking about our future. And he was always very like intentional. Like, I never had to question where we were going and what we were doing. And I loved that about that situation, because in prior instances, I was always like, what are we doing? How do you see me? Where is this going? Like, how long? Like, just all of the questions, okay? And none of them ever got answered. And everything was very vague, like cloudy, okay, rainy day, can't see an inch in front of my face, like cloudy, just couldn't, okay? But with him, there was so much clarity, there was so much transparency, there was so much authenticity, and I just felt safe to trust him, because he was just transparent in everything, in his struggles and the things that he dealt with. Like, he was just upfront and honest. Like, we talked about everything. It was just clear as day from day one. And so, yeah, so we would always talk about marriage and our future and where things were going. And in December, so November 14th, we started dating officially, boyfriend and girlfriend. November 21st, I met his parents. December, we went to a ring store to have my ring finger size, because we were like, we're getting married. We know it, right? And then in hindsight, I did not know this, but he showed me the ring in his phone. My ring. He showed me my ring in his phone, a picture that he had taken when he actually went to go purchase it. And it was December 30th. It was either the 30th or the 31st, but the end of December, he purchased my ring. So a month and a half after us dating. But I'm sure you're wondering, okay, you said you all got married in 6 months. So a month and a half, he has your ring. Like, what's the holdup? What is happening? Well, let me tell you, the story goes on from here. This is the story of how I met and married my husband within 6 months of dating, after I had been single for 10 years. Part 3. Okay, so my husband, a month and a half in, he has the ring, but I just don't know the exact date of when he is going to propose. However, we had talked about when we were going to get married, which may sound kind of strange, but because we were both in seminary school and we were both taking like fall, spring, and summer classes, we only had this span between like the spring and summer semester that we could have some time off. And so we knew that we wanted to get married at the beginning of that week so we could spend that week on our honeymoon and then come back and start summer classes. So I knew the week that we would get married. I just had no idea when he was going to propose. Not to mention, there were people who told us, like, you're moving kind of fast. This is kind of a lot. And typically, though, we noticed that the people who were telling us that we were moving too fast were not married. For instance, his parents, who had been married for years and years and years, were like, they were completely fine with it. Our friends at seminary who had been married, who actually had gotten married pretty quickly as well, were completely in support. And then we got another sign. We knew that before we got married, we wanted to do premarital counseling. We wanted to make sure that we went through all of the steps and that we just didn't have on these rose-colored glasses, but we had a couple from the outside looking in that kind of was like leading and guiding us, looking into our life, that would be honest with us, like, hey, you need to work in this area or that area. Hold your horses, pump the brakes. And so we started premarital counseling in February, which is another crazy story because we had contacted our church and we told them that we wanted to do premarital counseling. And we knew that that little week that we had would be in May. And so we wanted to start with the cohort that started in February. However, that cohort was full. And so they were telling us to wait until later in the year. And we're like, oh my gosh, no, we do not want to wait. But God made a way out of no way. My husband had spoken to one of the pastors at the church, and he made a way to get us into the class. And so we get into this class, and our facilitators, y'all, were amazing. Just like we had gotten a sign from the man who spoke to us at Papados. On the very first day of our premarital class, we're all going around and telling how we had met and the time span and all that. And our facilitators go, and they tell us that they had met, and I think it was in January, like mid-January, and then they had gotten married in March. It was 45 days that they had met and then gotten married. And all of these people are in our ear and telling us you're going too fast and all of these things. And then we meet our facilitators, who we related to them on so many levels. Like, they were just amazing, a phenomenal Christian couple who had been together for years and had been leading this facilitator group for years. And it worked for them. And immediately we looked at each other and we were like, whoa, like, this is another sign. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to be dating for years and years and years to get married, right? Because someone had told us to wait a few years to get married. And I'm like, girl, no. And so we go through premarital counseling, and we're very open, we're very honest. And a lot of the conversations, we had already had them together. And so it was just a nice refresher and a good way to go through a curriculum and kind of just take a look at our relationship and make sure that there weren't any like cracks, corners, crevices that we hadn't touched or overlooked. But it was just more of a solidification that, yes, like, we are meant to be together. Like, our purpose, our mindsets, our faith, like, this is it. You are it for me. And so our premarital counseling was like maybe 8 or 9 weeks. And so we finished up, I believe, like toward the end of March, and he didn't propose. But then April rolls around, and I had signed up to join our church and become a member and be baptized. And so he was like making it a big deal, like, oh my gosh, you're being baptized. And I was like, it's not really that big of a deal. But he was like, yes, it is. You made this decision and all these things. I'm like, yeah, but I'm already a believer. Like, okay. But anywho, so I go to my baptism service and I make sure that I look great, because something in me, because he was making it such a big deal, I was like, he might propose, but he's a very introverted person. So I was thinking that he doesn't want to cause a big scene. I'm thinking after I get baptized, he's probably going to take me out to dinner and we're going to go in a room by ourselves and he's going to propose. Y'all, I get baptized. I go through the church service. I walk out of the service and I have this bag with me. One of my friends walks up to me. She grabs my bag and I walk into this long hallway, and there is literally a sea of people who have parted. And I'm walking out and I'm like, oh my God. Because at the end of this walkway is my husband standing in front of this beautiful fireplace that we have in our church. And it's like this beautiful walkway, this fire that's lit behind him, this marry me sign, these rose petals that are sprinkled everywhere. and he is standing there with full production. And so everyone is cheering me on, and I am just flabbergasted because there are so many people. Like, my mind is blown. I just did not think that he would propose that way. And so it was still such a sweet surprise. Like, even though I was kind of like, I don't know when he's going to do it. I know he's going to do it. It was such a sweet surprise because I never thought that he would do it that way. Anywho, I get to the end of the walkway, and he gives me the most phenomenal proposal that I have ever heard. And y'all might think that I'm biased, but y'all, this man, my Lord, I wish I could repeat the words that he said, but I can't. He proposes, and I am telling him yes. Like, at the end of every sentence, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And so finally he gets down on his knee and he asks me to marry him, and he gives me the ring, and I'm like, yes. And this is 5 months in, right? So from November to April, this is 5 months. And I say yes to his proposal. And after that, we start wedding planning. So it's April 2022. Now, the pandemic has let up a little bit, and it's Texas, so it's like, really let up here. However, I still wanted to be precautious. And so we're looking at these different wedding venues, and it was stressing me out. And I was like, I can't do this. And at the end of the day, it's about me, you, and God. So I don't care how small it is. I just want to do it. And he felt the same exact stress, and he felt the same exact way. And we both acknowledged that God getting the glory in our union was the most important thing. And so the best decision for us, after we had looked into all these different venues, we had even considered eloping. Like, we had considered so many different things that for some rhyme or reason, they just were not working out. And so at the end of the day, we decided to get married at my apartment in like the multi-purpose room downstairs, which was absolutely beautiful. And we just had our families there. We ended up saving a ton of money. We streamed it virtually so people could feel like they were there and be a part of our special day. But yeah, it was just us. It was us and our family, and we got married on May 7th. So from November 14th, when him and I decided like, hey, we're going to be together, we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, to May 7th, we got married. And that is a little less than 6 months. Now, a year and a half later, I'm sitting here with our precious little baby boy.
I want to know what you think about this story time. Share your thought down in the comment section. Love to know your think. And I want to say a big congratulations to this sister and her husband and their life and their marriage life, their love story. Congratulations. But I have so much to say, but I don't come across like I'm projecting. I wish them the best and all that. But guys, as much as, yes, first, before I go on, okay. I'm just holding my, okay. Before I go on, I just want to say that, yeah, on this channel, we are not men haters. Like, we're not saying, no, we don't want to get married. If we find the right one, if we find a man that's going to treat us right, if we find a man that's going to make us happy, that's what we stand for. But we're not going to settle for the bare minimum just for the fact that we want to be married. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I want to set that record straight first. I'm happy for this sister, and I wish them all the best. Like, I wish them all the best. That to say, I don't want to project to her, but I just also want to give like a general thought for women that are watching this channel and the conversation and all that. I really want to know you guys' thought on this. First, you can find somebody that's going to love you and respect you. Like, I feel like when you've done the work for yourself, when you've involved, when you've grown yourself, you know who you are, you know what you want, you will attract that thing that you deserve. That's it. And I feel like that's what happened to this sister. One thing I've always believed is that there's no a code on how to meet the right person and all that, or what works for you. And I am a person, if you watch the channel, you know that I believe like we're allowed to have different style, different take, different everything. Like, it's fine. For me, is that we're not supposed to be the same. But the thing is that, are you genuinely happy? Is this what you really want? Are you doing it for you? That's what we stand for here. Like, make sure your decision, you are making it for you and not because of anything or anybody, but just for you. Very intentional on how you move. That to say, there's some things in this sister's story that I'm just like, I personally, for me, that will not work. I personally, and some of you guys don't know, let me state it out. I've been married for almost 11 years. August here to be 11 years, and I was with my partner for 10 years before we got married. So we've been together for 21 years each, like, okay? So it's not as if I'm saying, oh, don't marry. No, 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 no. I'm saying for me, for her, it works perfectly fine. She's happy, and I'm happy for her. But for me, there are some things that, for me, like I'll just give it a side eye and I'll move past it. First off, the man not even responding back. That was not really a big deal. There are some people like that that are just awkward and it's fine. But the one that was raising alarm in my head, and this is because I have seen issues like that has happened where people want to have like affirmation from people or sign. Do you understand? I personally, I say, okay, oh, I got a sign. This is my husband. This is my wife. It works for her. I personally, I'm not one of those people that I don't believe in those signs. If it's not my gut feeling, if it's not how I feel, it's not how what I'm getting from you, my intuition, I don't need any other person to say it to me. Like, my intuition is my gut feeling. My intuition is the sign I need, how I feel, how everything is making me feel, make me know how I feel. I remember when I wanted to get married, and the marriage counselor, we did marriage counseling, which I'm getting to, asked me like, how did you know this is your husband? What is the sign God showed you? I was like, no, God did not show me any sign. I like, God did not show me any sign. I just know that this man can take my madness. Like, he has seen me in my lowest, he has seen me in my high, like he can take my madness. And I know I am a handful, and I'm a very vocal person. I'm a lot of people, not a lot of people can handle me. So I like the fact that I know that he can handle that part of me. I'm just like, okay, all right, let's do it. And I feel like the other way too, like I also feel like I can take his madness, which sometimes I feel like I still can take his madness to a point. I really like, no, my husband gets under my skin a lot. So she's saying that somebody walked up to them and prophesied. If you know me very well, I don't believe in religion. Religion is not my thing, and because I've had my own fair share of religion and how manipulative it can be, not me. And one of the reasons why that's a red flag for me, just for me personally, like me hearing her say it, I'm just like, because I know of somebody that literally a pastor told her like, oh, you're going to get married this year, and da 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 da. I know that pick a date this year you're getting married, and that put an unnecessary pressure on her. She picked a date, and in her head she just so fixated on it that, oh, she's getting married this year, this date, da 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 da. And guess what, she ended up being in a marriage that this man ended up having a child on her. A few months after they got married, this man already have a girl that was already pregnant. So at the time they were planning that marriage, this man already had a girl pregnant and had a child. And she moved past it again. They worked it out. Da, 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 da. They got into the marriage thing again. 2 years into the marriage, or 3 years if I'm not mistaken, this man had another child with that woman. You get what I'm saying? And there was something like, because I remember when she told me that, they were getting married. I was like, what? Like, what's it? Like, what's it with the rush? It was also very rushed marriage. I like, what's it with the rush? Because I'm that person that if you come to me, I'm 100%. I'm like, what's it with the rush? Da 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 da. And she was like, that God has given a sign. God has used her pastor to bring the sign to her and all that. And me, I was rolling my eye. I was like, Pastor, here we go again. And when everything starts happening, I'm just like, she was angry. She was like, everything. She was so angry. And I was like, this is the reason that you don't need another human being to be your confirmation. You know down in your gut. When I had the conversation with her, she knew something was off. But she still went on with it because a pastor has anointed us, confirmed it is from God and all that. And this is where I don't like people that put a lot of all these pastors, religious people on a pedestal. Take a break. I know ours was not a pastor, but just take a break. It could be a pastor, it could be a religious person, it could be your brother in the church or wherever religious gathering is, and like, oh, that's the confirmation. No. You are the confirmation. You're the one getting into it. It's your body, your spirit, and your life that it's involved in this. You know. There's always that gut feeling. There's always that feeling. There's always that thing, aura around it. You know. So if it does not feel right, it does not feel right. Don't let anybody confirm it for you. You will confirm it. God will confirm it for you by you. You get what I'm saying? That's what else did she say that I Okay, the whole moving fast anything. I personally am one of those people that I don't believe in moving fast in relationship. Even some of us that dated 10 years before got married, marriage is still hard. Like it's still very hard. And I'll still say it today. I am not one of those people. I don't believe in marriage. Yes, am I married? Yes, but I don't believe in marriage. And somebody said something in one of my videos, said, "Oh, Destiny, you're married and yet you're telling people not to get married." And that's because I've experienced it and I'm telling people. And I feel like she was talking about how, oh, when they wanted to get married, everybody that was against the rush was, they were like the single people, while the married people. And this is it. This is it when I feel like when it comes to married people, this, this is it. I feel like mystery loves company when it comes to a lot of married people. Not all, mystery loves company. Like a lot of them, they've been in it and they'll just tell you, like, you know what, yeah, come in. And they just, I was thinking about this thing and I was having this conversation with my husband the other day. I was like, why is it that we keep saying that, oh, marriage is hard, or oh, marriage is not for everybody? Why? Because a lot of the time, there's a lot of people that have experienced it. There's a lot of people that have gone into it. They are not coming back to give us the feedback. The same thing with having kids. They are not coming back to give us the honest, raw truth about it. They just give us the, oh, when you enter, you will know. When you enter, you will know. When you enter, you will know. And when you get inside, it's easier to get in than to get out. When you get inside, to get out, it's usually like very messy and all that. Why are people not being honest and straightforward to the expectation of marriage and be honest about it? And this is why I create the content I create and try to educate girls. I'm not saying don't marry. I'm not saying don't have a partner or don't have children. But what I'm saying that make informed decisions that you know you're putting yourself first and you're very intentional about it. I don't know if I'm making sense. Anyway, guys, I'm happy for this sister, and I'm still one of those people that believe in partner, having genuine, healthy relationship. Yes, I'm one of those people, but I feel like if you don't do it right, you will regret it for the rest of your life, and it is what it is. I believe in love, and I'm happy for this sister and a marriage. And 6 months, is it too fast for me? Yes. I'm not going to, me personally, no matter how, And I know that you can't date somebody for so long for you to know the person 100%, because I've been with my husband for almost 21 years now, and things are changing. I'm changing, he's changing, things are evolving. But the core values is very important. What I stand for, my sure is this is not being performative, and I have to be sure of that, because some people will perform for you in terms of relationship. Some people will perform and tell you all the right things they want you to hear, even for up to a year, 2 years, without you really knowing their true self. We've seen it happen. Okay, so for me, yeah, that's one of the reason. Like, you know what, I'm out. Anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section, share your thoughts down in the comment section. Love to know what you think, but please be respectful as always. Go on and share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banking conversation. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl. Yeah, subscribe. Okay, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Do see.